Hey guys, what's up? It's been a minute. So this video is going to be about self-work. It's going to be about self-work that you can do in the moment and self-work that you can do for past situations. I have notes that I'm going to be looking at a lot throughout this video. And I'm probably just going to read off the paper. If that bothers you, then just don't watch the video. Maybe just listen to it. Have it playing in the background or something. I'm not going to be doing anything crazy in this video. I'm just going to be reading off of this that I wrote down. What I'm doing is recreating a video right now. I had the same video posted on my old channel, but I no longer have access to that channel because I forgot the password. And so this is a new channel. I'm revamping this video so that it's a little more fresh than the old video, and it might be easier to follow. So, excuse me for reading off the notes, but that's just what we're going to work with. So, like I said, we're going to be going over healing that you can do in the moment and healing that you can do for past trauma or situations. So I personally like to do self-work when something doesn't sit well with me. Like if I know something's bugging me or agitating me, then I pretty much do the self-work for that. And the goal in me doing self-work is to digest and analyze the situation for what it is. And I'm trying to do that to be able to heal and forgive and understand the undesirable situations and behaviors of that past experience. And a good way for me to personally identify trauma or hardships in my life is if my mind keeps revisiting that topic. So if you keep replaying scenarios over and over in your head, that's usually a good indicator that that situation doesn't sit well with you, so you may need to work through it a little bit. And there's two kinds of self-work. There's self-work that you can do in the moment, and then there's self-work that you can do for things that are in the past. And as for the moment, the first point of contact is going to be the decisions and the ability you have to change your reality and the others around you. So it's an outward effect and an inward effect. You can make those split decisions to better navigate yourself throughout whatever you got going on. And self-work for things that have happened in the past, such as trauma and arguments. So now I'm just going to be reading off of this, so don't mind me. For the moment, the main thing you have working for you is your reactions. And what I mean by that is your reactions are the only way you yourself can control certain situations. And a good but sort of terrible example of this is like the show called Cops on TV. I watch that channel every now and then. And a lot of the times you can see those people making split decisions. And a lot of the times they don't result in good rewards. And an example of that is interference. So like if someone you know gets pulled over, you're not allowed to go over there and interact with them because that's interfering with an investigation. So you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to just keep a distance, let the cops and whoever's at the scene, I guess, do their work, and then you can go on your way when everything's cleared. And then also resisting. So for that, what I mean by that is like midway through putting the handcuffs on, people are like fidgeting and they're like, man, get off of me. And it's like, you can't do that. You have to roll over in that situation and you have to let them arrest you. Because if you don't, then you're catching additional charges, such as like evading police if you run. So stuff like that is in the moment decisions, and it's stuff where people don't really think through their actions too much. So stuff like that's important. And personally, I'm not condoning legal advice. What you're going to want to do is research your own laws that are catered to where you live. don't take my advice on any, like, laws you got in your area. Excuse me. And so that's what I mean by, like, in the moment decisions. So the spiritual aspect of self-work in the moment is every moment of your existence you are faced with a decision to do the right or wrong thing. Based off your own behaviors, you can find yourself being rewarded or you can find yourself in pitfalls. And an example of that is leaving milk on the counter. So when we leave milk on the counter, we don't put it back in the fridge. It usually results in expired milk. And that's going to be the pitfall or the results in leaving the milk on the counter. So everything you do has purpose. You know, if you don't put the milk away, it gets curdles. If you put the milk away, it stays fresh until the expiration date. And to like further build on that, every moment and every decision you make has the power to change your reality and the reality of others around you. So with that being said, every decision you make has an outward trickling effect, and that's why people say vibes are contagious. 1 second, my dad's calling for me. I'm busy. Okay, all right. Thank you. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. The tea is done. I have to go make tea in a minute. Okay, so, and also, something that's very important about the decisions you make in the moment, usually our reactions and the way we process things are similar to each other, but they're going to vary a little bit as far as our actions. So, alright, I got a lot to read. Typically, the first reaction to any situation is shock. And that usually lasts anywhere from like a few seconds to maybe an hour or a few minutes. Shock hits you pretty hard, depending on the severity of the situation. And it also depends on the individual. Some people don't go through shock. So, but shock is very similar to adrenaline, and they both wear out and they taper off. And after the initial shock of a situation, then comes your typical run-of-the-mill emotions. Not everyone reacts the same way to the same situation, such as who you are as a person will dictate how you react to a situation. A common next emotion is disbelief, and then anger, and then sadness. Sadness and anger are outward expressions of hurt, and things like disappointment and frustration come after sadness, and then comes anxiety. And a lot of depth can be found within these emotions and stuff. Let me make sure. Okay. And then also a good point to make is both the moment and past issues both have a lot of potential for healing. So when these situations arise, they usually negatively affect us, and in which case we can take the time to mitigate hardships. And if hardships were not able to be mitigated, then the best case scenario is to heal after the situation has happened. So now, as far as self-work that needs to be done after a situation, and I mean anywhere from like a day or a few hours or a few years after the incident has happened. So self-work is the only way to heal from certain past experiences. And expectations play a role in past experiences and current experiences. So expectations are in place to protect us, but can also leave us blindsided. If we expect someone to carry themselves or navigate themselves in a certain way, it could represent a level of trust in the self and in the other person, but it's also a fault in rolling the dice and seeing if they can uphold those expectations. And that can happen, at any time. We're constantly putting our trust in other people, such as an example is driving. A good way to look about it is to expect everyone to be a crazy road rager, and not trust them when you're driving. You're gonna want to be a defensive driver instead of someone who's driving crazy on the roads. And that's something that gets overlooked all the time. When we're driving on the roads, we just get into autopilot mode and we just trust those drivers around us. And that's not good to do because it can lead to accidents or mishaps. And when expectations get let down, that's when a new territory starts. Like, what is this new thing in this situation? How do we avoid it? Or how do we work through it? And as far as healing past situations or past traumas, there's 4 things that are going to help you tremendously. One of them is acceptance, accountability, genuineness, and forgiveness. I don't know if genuineness is a word, but I don't know if it's a word or not, but that's what I wrote down. Those are going to be your main 4 fighters as far as getting you to push through on your healing path. So for starters, acceptance is acknowledging the situation that has already taken place. There's nothing that can be changed about the situation, so don't cry over spilled milk. And what that simply means is you can't change the past. The only thing you can do is learn from it. And so that's what acceptance is all about. And accountability is holding oneself and others responsible for their behaviors. And it's also a part of what's going to be done about the situation. So, if there was a mishap, this is the situation, this is what it is now. How are we going to prevent this in the future? So what are going to be the precautions that are going to be put in place to avoid these issues? And now for being genuine. Being genuine helps keep all the ducks in the row. And it also helps differentiate between what is real and what is an unnecessary exaggeration. And what I mean by that is, like, no offense to anyone, but like, how if someone goes through something, they're just like, ah, man, I went through that, yada yada, and it was such a bummer. And it's like, at this point, are you trying to heal from it by talking about it and expressing yourself throughout it? Or are you just nursing an old wound? Like, which is it, Are you looking for liberation, or are you just trying to get, some sympathy? So that's what I mean by genuineness. And a quote that I have, I won't read the quote just yet, and then the next step is forgiveness. So true forgiveness requires a certain level of realness and genuineness. you're not going to be able to forgive anybody if you're secretly still holding a grudge. And I know there's certain types of people who want to be looked at a certain way, and they're like, oh yeah, I forgave so and so, but then deep down they really didn't forgive them, because if they forgave them, they wouldn't be talking about it anymore. Just saying. So that's what I mean by genuine forgiveness. If you're not bothered by a situation, then you're not going to bring it up, you know. But if you're bothered by it, you'll be bringing it up. And a quote that I like for this is, I don't know who wrote this quote, but it says, for the moment is sure to come, so forgive graciously. And what that means is, everyone in life gets to these points where forgiveness comes up, you know? So it means to not be greedy about it, and it means to forgive graciously. It means to, you know, let bygones be bygones, and don't hold any animosity within yourselves, because it weighs you down, you know? So, just to recap all of this, and all of this is going to vary person to person. No two people are going to go about the same situations the same way. You know, we're all different people. And our experiences mold us into who we are as people. So who we are dictates how we approach situations, and it also dictates how we heal from those situations. And a good example of this is someone who's biochemically, I can't talk today. A good example of this is someone who's biochemically prone to depression. They might sit with sadness more often than the regular average person would, you know? And then, so, why does any of this matter, you know? This is so we don't hold on to unnecessary baggage within our lives. Self-work also helps us get to know ourselves and who we are as people. I think there's a difference in people who are sure of themselves and people who know themselves. I might make a video about that one day, but I do think there's a very big difference there. And doing this kind of self-work allows us to hold space for more things in the future. That way we're better able to lend a helping hand more often. And that way we're not held back in life, you know? And I also think a lot of people in life spend a good bit of time and living their lives by avoiding their self-work. So, I said something in my other video, but I don't remember what it was, but it was like, you know, some people aren't trying to do better, but if you're trying to better yourselves, then that's all that matters. That's pretty much what I said. But, if you're trying to do better, then don't hold that over your head too much. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at. Just try and better yourselves is what I'm trying to say without being rude about it. And I also think if all of us could have a little bit of courage, then we would be more brave to face our problems. And as a result, I think the world could be a better place. But that's all I got. Sorry for running through this so quickly. I'm not going to re-record this video. But thanks for watching. If you guys want help with anything else, just let me know down in the comments. And if you want to see anything else video-wise, just let me know. What else? And if you guys want to share anything that you've been through, if you feel comfortable posting it on the internet for everyone to see, then just comment down below. And, you know, this is a judgment-free zone. So if you want to just be a part of it, then totally let me know. But that's all I got for this video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.